Here on the hill is Laurel Sumac, Melosma laurina, an indicator species of the coastal sage scrub. And you can see these leaves. The kids call them taco-shaped leaves. They have that shape so they can deal with the arid environment that they spend a lot of time in. You can come out here in August, and this whole hillside will be brown, except this thing will be green, looking unnatural because it's so green in mid-August. So this is really adapted to where it lives in the Southern California habitat. You can see these fresh leaves coming out, nice and red. Red pigments indicate stress or new growth. And so when the growth is new on Laurel Sumac, you can see the red pigments will really show through. Has a smell that's unpleasant to some. Some people say it's an apple smell. I can't get the apple smell out of it. I get the bad smell out of it. Yuck. The sumac family includes cashews, pistachios, mangoes. Some of the leaves are much larger than others. You can compare that leaf with a smaller leaf. But they all have that little taco look where the leaves curl up on the edges. This is called an inflorescence, the arrangement of the flowers on this little stem. These are buds. Little tiny flowers will become flowers soon. In fact, on the same shrub, they'll often have flowers, buds, and sometimes fruit. Insects are attracted to them most of the year. The inflorescence progresses to dried up flowers. The flowers are dried up and the fruit is developing. This is the fruit of Laurel Sumac. Commonly on Laurel Sumac, it's visited by a little tiny moth. The moth will lay an egg in the leaf, tiny, tiny egg. The egg will hatch into a larva, and the larva will begin to eat between the two layers of leaf and continue mining through the tissue. It's called a leaf miner, and you can notice on this leaf it started tiny and the trail of debris gets slightly bigger and slightly bigger. It's called frass, which is a fancy name for moth poop, until at the far end it will emerge as an adult moth and fly off to continue this foolishness time and again. I don't think there's a lot of evidence that this was used by the local Indians. It could have been. There are some other plants that we know that they've used, but Laurel Sumac seems to be not a real important part of the Indian life in the area. As far as we know, the Indians didn't spend a lot of time with this plant. Didn't use it medicinally or ceremonially. They break very, very easily. Pretty good plant for your yard because you can trim it easily. It grows fast, doesn't require a lot of water. Nice shrub. Early settlers to the area, they would go out and survey an area, and after a very cold season, they could see that some of these plants had literally been damaged by the frost. All the leaves would turn brown, and they would know to not put their orange groves there. This has a requirement similar to oranges and lemons, and so if they saw that this was being damaged by the frost, they would put their orange groves somewhere else. Laurel Sumac was an indicator of frost. However, it's never killed by the frost. The whole top can be totally burned by the low temperature, and it just comes back. It also comes back very fast after fires. Fires that go through and just level these plants, just burn them to the ground, and within weeks you'd see new growth, just like this, coming up from the base. How old is this shrub? Let's assume that the fire came through 3 years ago. This could be 3 years old. After fires, these will stump sprout. They'll send up twigs and leaves from the base of the burned shrub.